Good morning, students. This video is for class 6 science. And today our topic of discussion will be water pollution. Today our topic of discussion will be water pollution. What do you mean by water pollution? When the water gets dirty, when the water gets contaminated, when the water mixes with different kinds of harmful gases, harmful diseases, harmful germs, bacteria and all, and the water is no more fit for drinking or no more fit for use, that is known as water pollution. So in simple language, you can say when the water gets contaminated and it cannot be used for your own purpose, that is known as water pollution. Water pollution refers to the contamination of water bodies due to which water becomes unsuitable, that means it does not remain fit for drinking, bathing, cooking and agricultural use. So when the water becomes dirty, when the water becomes contaminated and it is no more fit for your purpose, that is known as water pollution. Water is needed for drinking, bathing, washing and many other purposes. Due to an increasing population and rapid industrialization, the demand for water has gone up. So, as the population increases day by day and the number of industries being set up also increasing, this has led to the demand of increase of water requirement. But the availability of clean water for consumption is a problem due to the increased level of pollution in water bodies like rivers, lakes, ponds, and groundwater. So, as the number of population has increased, as well as industries are also increasing, so demand of water is also increasing. But the availability of fresh water that we use for your drinking purpose or cooking purpose, that is actually going low day by day. That is decreasing day by day. Why is it decreasing? Because the water bodies are getting contaminated, the water bodies are getting polluted. That is why the fresh water, the quantity of fresh water is decreasing day by day. Sorry. The impurities present in polluted water make it harmful for consumption by human, animals, and plants. So the impurities that is present in this water, in this water bodies, make it actually unsuitable for the use of animals, plants, and human being. Now, causes of water pollution. Causes of water pollution. What makes water contaminated? What makes water impure so that they cannot be used for your purposes? Release of waste water into water bodies leads to water pollution. So, just throwing off any kind of dirty substances or impurities into the water bodies makes the water contaminated, makes the water polluted. This adversely affects living things that live in and around water surface sources by causing disease and bad odor. Then this water pollution causes a very huge effect on the life of the organism that lives inside or around the water bodies. A few causes of water pollution are as follows. Number one, domestic waste. The waste that is actually made, created, or produced in the houses, that is known as domestic waste. And these waste are actually thrown into the water bodies, which makes the water contaminated, which makes the water impure. The food wrapper, plastic covers, decayed food waste, metal cans, etc. are example of domestic waste. Disposal of this waste means throwing of this waste into the water bodies leads to contamination of water sources. So these domestic waste are thrown into the water bodies and these water bodies are made contaminated, made impure for your purpose. Next is industrial waste. The dumping of industrial waste into water bodies like lakes and river is one of the main causes of water pollution. So, throwing of this industrial waste into the water bodies is one of the main cause of water pollution. So, see, big industries they have a lot of waste product as well as waste water. And what do they do is that the outlet is made in such a way that this waste water, these waste products are actually thrown into the water bodies, which makes the water impure and they cannot be used for your purpose anymore. This results in the release of toxic chemical compounds and gases into water bodies. So this, as I have told you, so this industries produce such product that the waste product is very poisonous, very toxic, and this toxic chemical when it reaches the water bodies, it makes the water impure, it makes the water contaminated. Toxic compounds like chromine, cadmium, lead, mercury, and arsenic are released into water bodies along with the toxic gases such as sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. So you can mark this, you can underline this. So what are the toxic means what are the poisonous compounds that are produced as a result of producing some other product? Next is sewage. Waste generated from household activities like washing, bathing, cleaning, etc. and human excreta is called sewage. So when you wash clothes in the house, when you wash utensils in the house, when you take bath, so the dirty water is actually known as sewage. When this dirty water reaches in the water bodies, it makes the water that is present in the water bodies contaminated, because this water which is produced, which is found after your bathing or after you wash your clothes or after you wash the utensils or after you wash vegetables and all that, so this dirty water actually contains lot of germs and impurities. So when this dirty water reaches the water bodies, they make that water present in the water bodies contaminated, dirty. When untreated sewage is released into rivers and lakes, harmful toxins and microorganisms present in it causes water contamination. So as I have told you, when this dirty water reaches the water in the water bodies, it makes that water contaminated. It makes the water unfit for our purposes. Next is agriculture waste. Fertilizers, insecticides, and pesticides used in agricultural field gets washed off by rainwater into nearby water bodies and thus contaminate water. Such chemical can also seep through the ground and pollute the groundwater. So whenever farmer uses pesticides or insecticides in the agricultural crops, so and after that if there is a rainfall, so these insecticides are washed away by the water, and these dirty waters, this water that is mixed with the chemicals, when it reaches the water in the water bodies, it makes the water contaminated. And sometimes when this dirty water, in fact not dirty but water mixed with the pesticides and insecticides, it seeps through the soil, absorbs this the water reaches the groundwater and it makes the groundwater also contaminated. So it is not only the water that is present in the water bodies gets contaminated, it also the water that we use for our purposes, for our drinking purpose, for our cooking purpose, the groundwater, it makes the groundwater also impure, also contaminated. Next is acid rain. When there is a rainfall, there are very harmful gases in the air. So when the raindrops falls, it get mixed with those gases and acid rains are formed. Let us see. Air pollutants like oxides of sulfur and nitrogen reacts with water vapor to form acids like sulfuric acid and nitric acid in the atmosphere. And this acid rain is very harmful not only for living things but also non-living things, because it damages non-living things also, like monuments and all, agriculture products. So they are all living. But these monuments, historical monuments, when they are made by marble, especially nowadays you will find the little bit this Taj Mahal and the statue made somewhere, they get affected. The color actually changes due to this acid rain. The sulfuric acid and nitric acid mix with rain to form acid rain. Acid rain changes the composition of water. It can harm plants and animals and pollute soil and water bodies. Next, thermal pollution. Nuclear and thermal power plants use water as coolant in various purposes. This produces hot water that is left out into water bodies. So nowadays, nuclear plant or thermal plant, they use water because they produce electricity. They produce some other, whatever products they produce, especially they produce electricity. So when they produce electricity, the machines they use, they get heated up, and water is used as a coolant to cool down the machine. So when you use water, the water that is used as a coolant, that they get heated, and when this hot water reaches the water bodies, it changes the temperature of the water bodies. It changes the temperature of the water bodies, and the the living organism that lives in the water bodies gets affected. Their life gets affected. So the hot water changes the temperature of the water bodies. This type of pollution is known as thermal pollution. So when this pollution occurs, when this type of pollution occurs, when this type of increase in the temperature of the water bodies remain, they get the water in the water bodies increase the temperature, and this type of pollution is known as thermal pollution. The last one is oil spill. The leakage of oil from shipping tankers or ships leads to the pollution of seawater. So we know that oil is found in the middle of the sea. When the ship containing tanker goes to bring the oil, there are some leakage in the tanker, and this leakage leads to the throwing of the oil or spilling of the oil. When this oil spills in the water, the water gets contaminated, it gets polluted. So, children, I hope now you have understood the causes of water pollution, like domestic causes, industrial causes, sewage, then you have agricultural waste, acid rain, thermal pollution, and oil spill. So, children, for today we will keep it till here. In the next class, we will study about the effects of water pollution and so on. So, for today, up to this much. Thank you, class.